Behold, my problem child. Welcome to Rust Revival Garage. My name is Tim. Been dealing with the timing issue vacuum problem in my fairly new Blueprint 350. I've got an 85 C10 here, and I started out just trying to see if I could get it in time. Engine was shaking a little bit, you know, it was a little erratic. And so I decided to try to time it, and you know, I got it pretty good timing, but I could not get a good reading on the vacuum gauges. And I tried everything you could think of. Anything that anybody has ever suggested, I've tried. I searched for vacuum leaks. I sprayed the brake clean all along the intake. I replaced hoses, you know, the vacuum line hoses, checked the PVC, checked the brake, checked everything I could think of. I even checked compression and found out that everything in the compression was really good. I mean, of course, it's a fairly brand new engine. It's only got about 3,000 miles on it. So I checked compression. I even replaced the ignition module in the distributor because somebody had mentioned that in a couple of my previous videos. And I'll link the videos down below in the description so you can see all the things that I've gone through. But I have one final thing. I finally broke down and I called Blueprint and gave them the details, showed them the videos, told them what was going on, and they said, you've got a vacuum leak and it's probably from the intake. So what Blueprint did for me was they actually sent me a new set of intake gaskets. So I've got to break this engine down, the top end down, take the intake off, put the new gaskets on, get it all back together, and see if that was my problem, and see if I can finally get this engine running smoothly, running with good vacuum, and being timed well, and all of that. So let's get to it. All right, nothing to do but to do it. So I think what I'm going to do is remove the spark plug wires from the distributor, leave the plugs intact, then work on getting some of these accessories out of the way and the upper radiator hose. Then we'll deal with the carb. Alright, got the radiator hose out of the way. I think I'm going to probably need to take this off as well. I am tall, 6'3", and I got the arms of an orangutan, and this is still hard. Let's see, let's loosen these. And that. Wiring is an issue. I think I can just tuck that out of the way. Also, I did drain all the coolant. I didn't really need to, but I do need to replace this radiator hose. I actually had a problem where the clip was dragging on the harmonic balancer. So I figured might as well just dump it all out and be done with it, because I don't really want coolant in these passageways when I take this out. Otherwise, I got to change the oil. Alright, now my fuel line. Of course, it's millimeter. Metric. Disconnected. I did mark on the valve cover where The distributor is pointed, so I'm roughly, timing-wise, going to be in the same spot. I do not plan to touch the distributor at all. I'm just taking it straight up and out. Alright, we are up and out. Now the carburetor. Alright, what I do want to try to do is maintain this because I've never set a 700R4 TV cable before. So I kind of want to make sure this all stays is the same as much as I can keep it. Looks like they've got some little ground here. Get that free. Alright, so yeah, I've got the carburetor undone, the electric choke positive undone. I think I just have the carb now. Getting the washers off these is such a bear. Got the bracket disconnected. Hopefully everything stays the same and I can hook it up the same way. Okay, I'm going to vacuum these leaves out. I do not want any of this crap falling down in. And I think that's it. There's... shoot. I think that might be on there, maybe? No. That's down into the block. Alright, so pretty sure I've got everything disconnected, and it's just since this is a Vortec head, I've only got 4 up front, 4 bolts in the back. Pretty tight for 15 foot-pounds. At least that's what they recommend when you've got an aluminum intake. Got no leverage. Way too tight. I mean, really tight. That's not tight. Neither was that one. Alright, I'll get the rest of these out. Okay, I am keeping the bolts in order. I want them to go back in the same way. One thing I did notice is that they all have thread sealer on them, which means all of these holes must go down into the, they must go all the way through. So it's good to know. I need to put some kind of silicone on all the bolts. Keeping them in order. Don't want to jimmy this in any way and cause problems. Ugh, come on. That does not want to budge. Okay, I don't have much room, but I think what I'm going to try to do is cut away some of this RTV, see if I can loosen it up that way. All right, I got it loosened up. Come on. Well, I will say whoever put this in did a hell of a job. Oops. Okay. Oh, it's only 90 degrees outside, but I got it off. They used the gaskets and silicone, and I'm wondering if that wasn't part of my problem. That's where I was digging into it, but yeah, I don't see any other thing. They did have gaskets around that, the water jackets. But yeah, they did use the gaskets. I'm wondering if that's the reason why I had a leak. I don't know. Well, I'll get this cleaned up, get this covered up, but everything's looking good. Alright. So that's out. Clean the surfaces up. Alright, slowly using a razor blade to chip away at this old gasket material and getting everything cleaned up. Got this sign cleaned up, and now it's time to tackle that. Okay, I got the other side all cleaned up. Okay, I've gone over the surface, cleaned everything, every edge up. Dropped one gasket in. At least on these, it's got little nubs that fit into these holes. And it's kind of hard to do with one hand, of course. Let's see if I can do this. Actually, no. I don't want to do the gaskets yet because I need to put the silicone around the water jackets. But anyway, everything's clean. Just got to take these out. I do see that they fit. I know how they fit. Okay, one of the cool things about the Vortec is that it's got these vertical it's got these vertical bolt holes. So what I thought I would actually do is take a stud, put it in one there, drop the intake directly on it. Then I can take the stud out, put the bolts in, but it's going to make sure that my bolt holes are lining up. So yeah, I can do one on this side, one on that side, and that'll keep it from moving around. It should drop straight down. and hopefully everything will be perfectly lined up. Just doing a light coat around the water passages. All right, I like to use a glove, not because I don't want to get messy, but I don't want to add my oils from my finger to the mix. And then I also want to come down to here. Reason why is you just have a lot of movement. You got liquid in there, and so I try to keep it all the way to the edge here and here where the water passage is. That's a little too much, so I think I'll add and I just dropped my flashlight into my coolant. Alright, next I'm going to get the China walls, as they call it, and then I'm going to go do the around the water jacket on the intake. So yeah, the gasket maker is on. Let's go ahead and put our gaskets in, and then I'll go do the water jacket on the intake. Alright, I've got my studs on. Gaskets in. Got enough in the edges of the China wall. And I should have a good connection. And now I do the intake. Now, the water jackets on that side are sealed up, so I don't really need to do those. Okay, we are down. Let's see if our bolts fit. Looks like we are good to go. Take our stud out. This one belongs here where the stud goes. Last two. Oh, crap, I didn't put my thread sealer on. Just goes to show you, there's always something you're gonna forget. I gotta take them out. Luckily I just have them in there finger tight, but gotta take them all out, put the sealant on, the silicone on, drop them back in. All right, now with the Vortec, you're supposed to do it, the torquing in a crisscross pattern. But this is what I do whenever I'm doing anything with silicone, whether it's a water pump, an intake, whatever. What I don't do is torque it down immediately. What I like to do is finger tighten it in the same pattern that you would torque it down, let it set for an hour, then do your torque sequence. So in a crisscross pattern, that one is finger tight. That one is finger tight. Finger tight. Finger tight. And then I'm just going to go along and do the exact same thing until it's all finger tight, each bolt. And then, like I said, let it set. When you let it set for an hour, it gives it a chance for that silicone to sort of set up, cure a little bit to where it's almost dry to the touch, which is usually after about 30-45 minutes. And so this way it has a chance, I think, to get a better seal. A lot of times I think when people are like in a machine shop or at a repair shop or wherever, they're under pressure to do it quickly. And so they may just go ahead and torque it down as soon as they put it on. And so because I've got time, I'm going to let it set for a little bit. First thing I'm going to do, I had to throw a little light on it because it's a little darker than I thought it would be. I'm going to give it some turns at each one. Since I don't have the ability to do the whole inch pounds, four, six, seven, eight. Alright, let's go up to 12. Alright, all torqued down. Okay, while I was torquing it down, I realized I should probably go back over it. It's a good thing I did. When you start from the beginning sequence again, torque it down, things tend to loosen up a little bit. So I went back around and checked each one and found a couple that were actually still a little looser. And so yeah, it's a slow torque, but go over it 2 or 3 times. Make sure that you're getting an even amount all the way across. That's kind of what I did. So I didn't show it, but yeah, at least go back over it 2 times, maybe try a 3rd time. And I might even check it again before I start buttoning everything up. First thing I want to do is get the distributor back in. Let's see, I've got my new gasket. Got the tack hooked back up. This is hooked back up, and I had this lined up directly with this tape here, so I'm going to tighten it down right there. Okay, we're all tightened down roughly in the same spot. So we should be good. Still gonna have to adjust the timing, but I kind of wanted to get it as close as I possibly could to where it was. And next we do the carb. Wanted to do the distributor first just because I have a little more room. Okay, I've got my spark plug wires back in. Vacuum from the brake is hooked up. Still have to do the PCV advance, vacuum advance. Positive to the whatchamacallit, the choke, and this vacuum hose here, and this little ground here, and then our hose. And I think I've also got a temperature sensor to screw back in. Carburetor and fuel line too. I'm gonna actually try a new gasket too for the carb. All right. Almost forgot, I've got to get this in here as well, and nice and tight. Washer nut on top of that, and then I can hook these back in along with my return spring. Actually, I don't remember where the return spring went. I'll have to poke around in there. And finally, well, I don't know if it's finally, but our fuel line. Gotta get the washers on either side. I'll get that tightened up. And then what did I do with the temperature sense? Oh, here it is. I'll probably put some more tape on that. All right, my wires are a little messy. Previously they had been perfect and I did not keep track of where they went, but everything looks to be hooked up. Got this back in and it's pretty much exactly where it was, so I'm okay. I think on the TV cable, our throttle return spring is working, fuel line's hooked up, vacuum lines, coolant lines. I still need to do my hose down here and fill it up before I can start it up, but I think I've got everything. Okay, I've got my coolant added, new hose is on down there. I think I've double and triple checked everything up here to make sure it's all tight. Now the scary part, start it up and see if it all works again. Oh, 7. Jesus, Tim. All right, she's running. See any leaks? I had the wires up. I needed to be over 1. Sounds good. All right, got it started up again. See if I've got a fuel leak. It was actually leaking from up in here. I must have loosened these connections somehow, but I've got them tightened up. And I need to check again, or I need to check again to see if there is a fuel leak. It was running down to the lowest point here and dripping down. So I do have another fuel leak. I cannot tell where it's coming from, but it is dripping down on here and lining the whole front of the intake. Okay, I've got my fuel line replaced, no leaks, just drove it around to get it warmed up. Let's check the timing. So that is a huge success in my book. That is the first time I've ever gotten that vacuum gauge into the green. And I continue to play around with it a little bit. I got it up to about 17. What was funny is I think I had the idle air mixture screws a little too far in. They were only at about 3/4 of a turn. I've got them out to about a turn and a half after I went all the way in, came all the way back out. Timing is good, so I'm happy. This thing is running better than it's ever run. It stayed cooler when I went to warm it up. It was kind of amazing, and even then it was a little bit out of time. So yeah, this is a success in my book. So that's going to do it. I've been dealing with this since last November, trying to get this timing right. Even took the truck on the power tour, and you know, it ran okay, but it was, you know, it was a mixed bag. Anyway, got it going. It's running good. It's not shaking anymore. I'm in the green, like I said, so I've got good vacuum. The timing is set again. I've locked the distributor down. So yeah, I'm beyond excited. I know this is me jumping up and down actually. So like the video if you got anything out of it. Give me a comment if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions for other things I can try to keep improving on this engine and knowing what you've kind of seen. And subscribe if you can. I'd really appreciate it. I got a lot more going on with my 85 C10. I got a rewiring project I'm finishing up on the Pontiac Le Mans. Yeah, so lots going on. Subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much for tuning in. We will catch you next time.